Hey everyone, if you clicked on this video, you're probably a worried secondary school student or a JC student currently drowning, like I was. Well, I'm here to give some tips and advice on how not just to survive, but to make the best out of your JC experience. So let's dive straight into the biggest tip I have. It's okay to fail. Let me explain. JC is inherently more rigorous and tougher than secondary school. The depth of the content and the compressed nature of this syllabus makes it a nightmare to adjust to. It is perfectly normal not to be doing great in J1, falling behind on lectures and your studies. I used to be a straight A student in secondary school, but the moment I started JC, my best subject suddenly plummeted and I struggled to even pass a single WA. You will feel like you're falling behind, especially if you're in an extremely competitive JC like Hwa Chong, RI, or NY for example. But trust me, it's okay to fail. What you should focus on is getting the foundations right. There will be enough time in J2 to polish up on your examination skills. So focus on understanding the content first. Of course, it's great if you can score well. I have friends who never drop below a B during JC, but those are the exception. For the majority of us, one exam grade isn't the end of the world. And trust me, even in J2, it's okay to fail. While you definitely should be taking your exams more seriously in J2 and try to consolidate all of your learning, it is okay not to be doing great even by the mid-years. My mid-years were horrible, and my prelims didn't even have a single A. Before A-levels, I've only seen the A grade once in my 2 years in JC. But what's important is understanding the content and seeking help from friends and tutors to build a strong foundation in J1 before consolidating everything in J2. Tip number 2. There is more to life than just studying. The best part of my JC experience was the amount of extracurriculars I had. Not only does it add life to your JC experience, it has allowed me to meet so many different people that I still remain close friends with. I have made so many great memories through my extracurriculars, especially because NY has these SIGs, where it is basically a fully student-run club with little input from the teachers, and there are no commitments or limit to how many you can join. Participating in these extracurriculars definitely made my life more fun, especially considering that I did so with my friends. Of course, studying is important. Definitely don't slack on that. But don't make it the only thing you do. Make sure you have a fulfilling and memorable JC experience you won't regret. Tip number 3. Know your teachers. In JC, my teachers were my lifeline. So really get to know your teachers and go for consultations regularly, especially if you're unsure about your subjects. Sometimes you don't know what you don't know, and your tutors will be invaluable to help you brush up on your knowledge. Apart from your academics, I really suggest getting close with your civics tutor, your form teacher, as being on friendly terms with them will really help with applications for university and scholarships. My teachers in NY were goated, and honestly, I would not have survived without them. My CT was especially great, and she really helped me to grow as a person. Many of our check-ins lasted an hour as we just discussed about life, her life and my life. And I really believe that getting to know your teachers is important. Tip number 4. Find your study style. I wasted a lot of time in J1 studying ineffectively. Personally, I tried to study at home and I always ended up on Instagram or YouTube. I'm sure you can relate. So what worked for me was studying outside with friends or studying in school at the seashore wall until 8 or 9 p.m. or until we got kicked out of the school. Depending on your subject combination, use different studying techniques for different purposes. For learning the subject and watching lectures, I use the Pomodoro technique and the Feynman technique. But in preparation for answering formats, especially closer to A-levels, where everything becomes a lot more rigid and mainly memory-based, I use flashcards and the blurting method. Once you discover a studying style that suits you, your learning will suddenly become way more productive. studying smart always beats studying hard. Another thing that is important is studying sustainably. Don't go for 8-hour mugging sessions without breaks. That's just unsustainable and will lead to many, many burnouts. Trust me, I know. So study with friends, take regular breaks, and after studying, go for a meal with friends or simply treat yourself with bubble tea. So find the studying style that suits you and is sustainable. Remember, JC is a marathon, not a sprint. Tip number 5. Choose your CCA or extracurriculars well. To be honest, I wanted to go into badminton in NY, as it was my CCA in secondary school, but I didn't make the cut. And sometimes these things just happen, and you have to make the final decision yourself based on what you value. It is up to you to weigh what you want to do. Both low commitment and high commitment CCAs can be equally rewarding based on what you want to get out of it. I eventually still went to a sports CCA, partially to learn a new sport, but also to remain fit, and it has worked out quite well for me. However, sometimes I do wonder how my life would look like if I had picked photography. Of course, I definitely don't regret the late night training session and the competitiveness of the sport, especially a team sport where the camaraderie is extremely strong. But I will admit that it probably did put too much on my plate, especially during the NSG season. So pick your CCA as well. Do what you want to do, but also know the level of commitment you're committing yourself to, especially considering how academically tough JC is and the extracurriculars that you should probably opt for. Tip number 6. Push yourself. One of my biggest regrets in JC was honestly not pushing myself enough, especially in J1. It was partially why I overloaded way too much in the first half of J2, and it resulted in my horrible mid-year grades of C, D, E, S, and U. I'm not joking. Go apply for scholarships though. Still, choose to volunteer outside, start a community service event with friends, take part in academic competitions, or take up leadership roles. Simply push yourself, do what you want to do, and do it well. More than boosting your portfolio, it will also allow you to grow through your experiences, hone leadership skills, management skills, and social skills. But most importantly, and I cannot stress this enough, do what you enjoy, and you will never go wrong. Don't be fixated on simply studying to do well in A-levels. Instead, embrace any and all opportunities that come your way. Of course, make sure you still balance your work, extracurriculars, and rest time. But always push yourself to do the best. Last and final tip is to build a community by being yourself. My most important takeaway I have from JC was my friends. To be honest, my friends are the best people I've ever met, and we truly accept each other for who we were. So be yourself, have fun, be unapologetically you. I found my closest friends that way, and it really helped my life beyond just JC. JC is truly a tough experience, and what made it great for me were my support networks, and just having fun with friends every day, regardless of what we were doing. It could be studying, fooling around, or crashing out together. But every single second spent with them was fun. And even to this day, I still spend my weekends, my bookouts with them, and they're the best things that have ever happened to me. So that's most of the key tips I wish I had before going into JC, and I hope it will help all of you. Jiayous for everything ahead. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it useful. P.S. This is probably the last study-related video for a while. I'm currently serving my national service and I don't really have a lot of time to edit videos. I have my Taiwan trip in the works, where I went to Taiwan during my block leave. While my posting frequency will definitely take a hit, especially considering that I'm going to be outfield for the foreseeable future, I'll still try to post my bookouts or fun things that I do. Of course, no in-camp photos. Comment what you want to see me do during my bookouts. but expect them to be 2 months late. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.